This quote, I'd love to say that I originated it, but I didn't. It's in many, many different places. The quote is, if you can't do it, you don't know it. Let's think about that. I talked about performance, the only measure of success. And the concept of that is encapsulated in this quote as well. If you can't do it, you don't know it. Which means if you cannot demonstrate something, if you can't show that you have the skill, the knowledge, in an appropriate context, then you really don't know it. And people will say, well, I know how to do that. Well, can you do it? Oh, no, but I know how to. Well, if you can't do it, I can't be convinced that you know how. And one way I can look at that is as a basketball coach, which was only for a couple of years, but I learned as a basketball coach, it's not what I can do, it's not what you say you can do, it's what you demonstrate that you can do in an appropriate context. So if you can say, I can shoot, boy, I'm a good shooter, I can get every 100%, but if you can't do it in a game, then you really can't do it. You really don't know it. You may be able to show, demonstrate in a quiet situation, not the game situation. But if you can't do it in the game situation, then you're really not a basketball player. You might as well just be one of those automatic pitching machines. Because what we need is your ability to do it in the appropriate situation. Now, when it says, if you can't do it, you don't know it, what does that mean about exams? If the exam is, well, multiple choice or whatever, and all exams have different purposes, and based on the hierarchy of learning, different purposes. And the concept I have with exams is if you memorize and know those things, you can write the answers and get the answers right, and you can make a good mark. My challenge though is, can you use it? If I'm teaching you history, can you engage in a conversation with someone else and utilize the knowledge you have of the history, of that appropriate history, to engage, to present, to inquire, to express an opinion, to have a conversation about that? If you can't, then it's just nothing. It's just fluff. Get a great mark, but you can't use it. And I would argue that with everything. There are some subjects that lend themselves to that particularly well. If you are taking physics or biology or chemistry, and you have to demonstrate your ability to do an experiment or whatever, you have to do it, and you can't just phone it in. You have to do it. So I think there are some topics that lend themselves almost by force to do that, but many aren't. I once taught microeconomics, which many people is the most boring thing, but my belief, even I was very young at that point, was that if people didn't understand it in the sense of being able to not just articulate it, but to apply it to situations, then they really didn't know it. And my responsibility as an instructor, trainer, professor, whatever, is that you can show me that you can do with that knowledge something beyond getting an A on your exam. Again, much tougher way to teach. When I work with people who don't speak English well, or any students, but my concept, if they can't do it, they don't know it. So rather than just say, does everybody understand? Because many of them go, oh yeah, we all understand. I guess you'll show me how to do that. I teach presentation, the ability to do presentations. I use the concept of think on your feet and other places, especially from being a coach. And every course I teach presentation, quote unquote, presentation skills. But what I do teach is how to do a presentation so you can take the knowledge, the information I'm giving you, and demonstrate, even if it's only in a conversation or a presentation, something about that. For example, every point they give, they have to state it, define it, and give an example. That example cannot be cursory, it cannot be flippant, it has to be in some way a demonstration of your ability to utilize that information effectively within the context of social situation, i.e. being a human. Boy, I could spend more time on this, but that's probably enough for now. Thank you.